In the weather forecast, we have some leftover business to take care of, which is the remaining hour and 45 minutes of a red flag warning, unfortunately, in the mountains. We're almost out of this, but until 8 o'clock, everywhere on the map in red is still looking at fire weather concerns. This will be allowed to expire at 8 o'clock today. You can see this includes the North Bay Mountains and the DIABLO Range. But if we come back up to the North Bay Mountains, I want to show you how this is going to play out today. I'll switch from showing you where the red flag warning is to show you how the winds are going to behave today. And this looks pretty typical in terms of where the trouble spots would be on days where we have strong offshore winds. You see the really well outlined brighter colors there and the streamlines showing you the direction of the wind coming from the north. So you've got your stronger gusts over the mountains. It's a good example of why this time of year, oftentimes when we have red flag warnings and we talk about strong winds, we never feel it down here on the ground. It's the winds up in the mountains that really matter. And over the next few hours, those winds will finally begin to abate and die down. And once we've gotten into the early afternoon, they're done. And then we see something very interesting and very positive take place on this map. I'm going to play us forward now from 2 o'clock. And instead of seeing the offshore winds, watch what comes in from the coast. There's our onshore. So this does two things. One, turns off the fire weather concerns, because that'll bring the humidity on shore with it. The other thing it does is it also starts a subtle cool down. You're going to feel that a lot more at the coast today. It won't be until tomorrow that the real influence of that stronger onshore surge will be felt. So we're still going to the mid-90s today if you're inland, still hot today. Just about as hot as yesterday was. But near the coast, even though it's still warm, 75 in Pacific is still warm, but it's cooler than yesterday. And we start the process of a cooling trend. We haven't really noticed that so much yet, though, unless you're in those sheltered valleys up in Sonoma County. Look how cool it is in Santa Rosa right now. It's in the 40s. But everywhere else is either in the low 60s, like most locations, or Livermore's our one outlier, where it's 56 degrees right now. And we're waking up to perfectly clear skies this morning. No sign of the marine layer, thanks to that offshore flow. And even tomorrow, while we may see the marine layer come back to the coast a little, it doesn't really make it too far inland. It's not until Monday morning when we wake up again to seeing some of the low-grade clouds at the coast and working their way in through the Golden Gate. It's a very subtle and weak return to that kind of weather pattern for us. And if you wanted to see anything more significant, like the possibility of rain, we should forget that entirely. A big ridge out in the Pacific shows you the weather going all the way up and over the west coast. That is a very exaggerated view on the Pacific storm track. And if we look at where that's going to deliver rain over the next 7 days, everywhere but the southwestern U.S. and the entire state of California. So in the 7-day forecast, we get a noticeable drop in the temperatures for Sunday. We'll go from 87 in the Bay to 79. And you get cooler inland as we get into the early and middle part of next week, but it doesn't last long. We'll start to warm back up again by the end of that week.
So I'm just going to say it, it's too hot.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like autumn.
Yeah.
This does not feel like fall weather.
I mean, everyone's thinking the same thing, so somebody had to say it. And there's really not a dramatic shift, Devin. I don't have a major cool down in that 7-day that gets us into a good fall-like feel yet.
Or a little bit of rain to green up the hills
That'd
either.
even be better, yeah.
All right.